Geregu Power PLC, chaired by billionaire businessman Femi Otedola, was listed by introduction on the main board of the Nigerian Exchange Limited, becoming the first power firm to go public almost 9 years after the nation's power sector was privatized. A total of 2.5 billion ordinary shares of Geregu Power were listed at 100 naira per share under the utility sector and electric power generation subsector of the NGX, with the trading symbol Geregu. Geregu Power PLC gained 10% at the close of its first trading day on Wednesday, despite 0.09% drop in market capitalization. Well, Geregu seems to be enjoying positive sentiment, and the question would be, what's responsible for that? Or is it honeymoon that has already ended?
I want to use a word I would normally use on the floor, among stockbrokers. This is initial gragra.
Yeah, so I like that initial gragra.
Yes, it's the newest in that sector, the first in that space, first in that sector, and yes, it is doing so well. But like they said, the popular musician, water go find a level. So, because they were just introduced into the market by way of introduction, what it means is there were no raise of capital.
Yes.
The Geregu power plant already has a number of investors. So it's being listed now gives opportunity for other people. Now, it is already existing shareholders that are bringing their shares to the market now for sale. So there is no new shares issued to anybody.
Okay, I think this is a point where you already started that explanation, but I want to make it plain to our listener. What's the difference between IPO and, listing by introduction?
Okay, IPO is initial public offering. Now, those ones, they come to the market for the first time.
Okay.
That's why it is initial. The main purpose, the funds there that is being raised goes to the company for expansion and for whatever thing they
Is that what you call the primary market?
That is the primary market.
Okay.
Yes. Now, listed by introduction, the company has a number of shareholders. Now, you're not going to force anybody to say, oh yeah, come and bring your shares for sale. The shares now that are brought to the market are owned by people. And of course, the quantity that is coming to the market, not everybody, some people want to watch and see what it is doing. And that is why, and other investors like Ambrose, myself, and other people, they are saying, this is utility. That means whether we like it or not, power is very good. It has that fundamental. And from the few numbers they have given to the market, they want to position themselves. So you can see everybody now trying to see how they want to get part of these shares. But of course, those who have it will say, no, I'm not just going to rush and bring my shares to the market. They also want to observe. So you see that the price will continue to go up, but it will get to a point, like I said, water will now find its level. The market will price it, and it will be where it is supposed to be. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Mukhtar, I believe you can hear me.
Certainly I can.
All right. Please talk to us about the impact this will have in the power sector.
I think that's the only good news, that you've seen the power company being listed. Outside of that, there was no fact behind the figure. There were no projection. As far as I'm concerned, it was not an open. It was not open, and so for me, that's a big challenge. When it's not open, there was not so much transparency in the listing. And some stockbroker got to know that they were being listed maybe on Monday, and there was no any fanfare to tell us what is expected, what is their financial statement, what would they be doing 1 year, would they be paying dividends, just the listing by introduction. Look, I think the listing should try and be a little bit positive. I mean, positive in the sense that make disclosure. That's how best global practices. Not just because it's coming from one of Africa's richest man or one of the biggest business entrepreneur in Nigeria. Then we just need to put the rules behind. Or the exchange also are looking for ways to get more people into there. So that's what I feel about it. But the good thing is that it's good. It may begin to attract other power companies because they need all the funds they can. So I expect him, as done by introduction, I expect to come for the first IPO anytime soon. so that they'll have funds to begin to grow that sector, because that sector, the challenge they have at the moment is lack of funds. And so the stock market is one of those cheap places for you to get easy funds at a very cheap rate. So I expect them to come anytime soon. But outside of that, there's nothing to like the Mr. Isaac and Mr. Charles said. Is initial gra. We saw this happen in the telecom sector some years ago when a particular telecom company listed itself on the exchange. There was so much fanfare about it. Today, that company is not even listed on the board of the exchange any longer. So, but I don't think Geregu will be like that. Geregu will be like that. But I just feel that there was no little transparency, was not there. There was no openness. There was no. We need to get to world best practice. As long as we are priding ourselves as one of the best performing exchange in the world, we must make sure we maintain corporate governance.
All right, thank you. Well, very quickly, Mr. Ambrose, just before we wrap up this particular segment, talk to us. Should we expect any wider ramification on the economy based on this listing?
No, actually, you know that as a nation, already our generation is very low. If we are seeing more companies going into that space, for me, it's a good thing so that we can measure up with other like South Africa. You know how many megawatts they have today, but we are still below 5,000 megawatts as a nation. For me, it's an aberration. That means if we are getting more companies, as my colleague have said, that this attract more listing and also they expand their business, come to exchange and raise funds, that would be very nice for them. But for me, like you just said, that transparency is very, very important when it comes to coming to something like public company. And don't forget that I say that exchange is like a place when we are coming, you should dress very well because we are going to become the public view. It's not like when we are seeing a private company that you can dress in your room and go, but now you dress in the public, everybody will see what you are wearing, whether it's clean or not. The first step they took is that one, coming to the market was emergency. We didn't get about far the figures as you mentioned, but the ones we just saw after they are listed, I've seen some figures that emerged from the company. I want to just explain one or two things that investors should also guide them. If you look at their top line for 2021 financial year, about 70 billion. Yeah, and also you see that their bottom line for that year was just about 20 billion. Also, let's just take it at 20 billion. And look at the share in issue, just about 2.5 billion share in issue. And this like the fourth purely in the power sector business. But there are similar companies that are into related business also that are on the exchange. Like look at what have they done for the same period and what we're seeing now. Look at Transcorp, as small as it is. Their second quarter turnover was about 62 billion for just second quarter 2022, 62 billion. And their bottom line is 14 billion again for that same second quarter. And this is a company that has about 40 billion ordinary share. Compared with something that has 2 points. Consider that when you have too much children, when you are sharing a chicken, you just take it. But when you have a few children, they can eat and but that's why I said investors should look at. I'm going to say that this Ghana will come to a place that we want to look at figures and also what you have on table. Yes, we have seen that the share issue is small. We have seen bigger number compared, but I'm saying that this is a stock that's selling below 2 naira. I don't mention. Their half-year results speak that 62 billion. As at end of 2022 June result, and their bottom line is about 14 billion. This one for full year 2021 was seeing 17 billion and 20 billion. I say that at the end of the year, you can even forecast that Transcorp can even
70 billion.
They can even touch the 20 billion as for full year 2022, and they make even above, because if at the second quarter having 62 billion already, whether that's why for investor, not just because it's a name, and we know there's people behind them who have their attendance in the market before now. For that, when you are investing, invest for what? For value. And like I always say personally that invest where the billionaires are. That is my own strategy. Because these billionaires, they will not allow those stocks to come down, but buy it at the right time. Go and check what happened in 2008. Look at all the stocks that suffer losses there that the billionaires are in today. They have created value for themselves and also for their shareholders. That is why go with the billionaires when you are investing.
That's it. Do you want to say something before we end this particular segment? Go with the billionaires. Do you agree with that?
I agree that you go with the billionaires, but at the same time, you also have to assess your own risk appetite, looking at what you can also do. And of course, like they have said, when you are investing in any company, you look at so many things, The people behind the company is very key. And again, there is a lot of transparency in the current NGS group now. So if a core owner, let me use that word now, somebody who has substantial holding in a particular company and you are seeing those kind of huge transactions, of course, it will be reported. So everybody is open. Those billionaires too are also open. And like he said, of course, where your money is, that's where your mouth is. You will not want those companies to come down. Yes, I agree with you. That 2008, yes, those companies that were having issues, when those billionaires took over, they've actually created value. People who lost money have actually gained what they lost during that. And we want to see that going forward. We want to see more companies to come to the exchange, raise fund, and because when you raise so much funds, you'll be able to expand. The economy will improve. Our GDP will improve. You know, so when investors see this daily up fluctuation, that should not be a major problem to them.
Okay.
Look at this company. Do we still have value? Yes, the value is still there. Like I said, if Otedola has brought his company to be listed, other ones too will follow suit.
All right, we need to go now. Well, we'll take a break now. When we come back, I will bring you more interesting and informative conversations. Stay with us.